was cheated out of the Nobel Prize because the Nobel Prize was given just to Marconi. But it is now very well known, for example, in the Royal Society, where I belong for many, many years. There's a very nice write-up for 2 years ago saying how J.C. Bose was such an important figure in this major discovery. Today, I just take 2 examples. 2011, just 4 years ago, was the centenary of many things. And this is a good example to remember history and also the great things that happened in science. What I am showing you here is a very important man, Lord Rutherford. Lord Rutherford is the one who gave the structure of the atom in 1911. 2011 was 100 years. Nobody celebrated it. What a shame. Because the structure of the atom is the most fundamental thing of all science. Not just chemistry, not physics, but all of it. In fact, Feynman said long ago, I don't know whether you know this statement, if all things in the world get somehow destroyed by some catastrophe, one truth will remain, that all things are made of atoms. And that atom structure was given by Rutherford, and this is Rutherford in Cambridge, and these are Cockcroft and Walton, who built the first atom smashing machine, Van de Graaff generator in Cambridge. Now, Rutherford, there was an unbelievable story. These are the stories I'm going to tell you. Rutherford, in 1895, he wanted to study in Cambridge. He was an undergraduate in New Zealand, and then he wanted to go to Cambridge, but Cambridge did not allow any foreigner to do PhD. You must have an undergraduate degree to do PhD in Cambridge in those days. The first student from outside Britain who was allowed to join Cambridge was Rutherford in 1895. There was an accident. If he had not done that, I don't know what would have happened to science and what would have happened to Rutherford. He was admitted, and in 1895, exactly 13 years later, he got a Nobel Prize. Of course, when he entered Cambridge in 1895, the electron was about to be discovered. 1897, the electron was discovered. And this is the story of Rutherford. And what is the greatness of Rutherford? Since we are going to the university, I want to remember. After he did this famous work on atomic structure, he stopped doing work. He stopped doing research, but went on encouraging young people to do many things. He got, for example, Chadwick, who was running around somewhere, to his lab, he discovered the neutron, got a Nobel Prize. Cockcroft and Walton, Van de Graaff, they got a Nobel Prize. Got Kapis there from Russia to do lotus physics, he got a Nobel Prize. You got Blackhead, like that. He produced so many Nobel laureates in physics. He became what to be known as the Emperor of Physics. It was the joke in Cambridge those days was a taxi driver, if you ask him, I want to go to Cavendish Lab where Rutherford is there. No, I won't take you. The taxi man would say, because if I go there, that fellow Rutherford will make me do work and get me a Nobel Prize. 1911 is again, because Ashok is here, Ganguly was my student, he did superconductivity as part of his PhD thesis. I wanted to know, I said, nobody celebrated this. 2011 was the centenary of the discovery of superconductivity. This is Karel Gors in Netherlands who discovered it in 1911 with the liquid helium plant. And I showed him with his teacher, Karel Gors with the famous van der Waals was his teacher. Van der Waals interaction, you know. So this is the first record of a superconducting transition. Then in 1911, mercury becoming superconducting at 4.3 Kelvin. I hope you all know. If you have time, I'll say something about superconductivity later. It's a very exciting subject, but that again we celebrated the centenary. But I'll show this picture. I used to teach in IIT Kharagpur. My lectures were full of stories, lots of stories. If I gave a tutorial, I would make them do all kinds of things. One of the things I used to do in my tutorial for only 15 students was to give this photograph. Will you turn off those lights or something that is coming here? That one there. Because the light is shining. This photograph I would give them. Identify. You would get as many marks as the number of people you identify. That would add on your performance, extra points. So, very few people, in fact, very few professors also identified very well. So, this is the first record of a superconducting transition. Then in 1911, mercury becoming superconducting at 4.3 Kelvin. I hope you all know. If I have time, I'll say something about superconductivity later. A very exciting subject, but that again we celebrated the centenary. Well, I'll show this picture. is I used to teach in IIT Kharagpur. My lectures were full of stories, lots of stories. If I gave a tutorial, I would make them do all kinds of things. One of the things I used to do in my tutorial, for only 15 students, was to give this photograph. When you turn off the lights or something that is coming here, that was there. Because the light is shining. This photograph I would give them. Identify. You would get as many marks as the number of people you identify. That would add on your performance, extra points. So, very few people, in fact, very few professors also identified, by the way, not only students. I tell you, it is the first conference in the world in science. History of scientific conferences. Today, every day there are million conferences. The first major international conference that ever occurred was in 1911, where they decided to invite all the brains of the world. And here is Madame Curie, you see? There is another person there. Back line. Who is that guy standing there? You see, I didn't have to stand there because you are still not so important. But a few years later, you see, Einstein became so important. And then here you see again lots of names. I will not identify all of them because otherwise I have to give you a test and give you marks. I won't do that. Okay. So this is Niels Bohr. And just behind him, you see, a young boy. 22-year-old Heisenberg. What is so great about Heisenberg? The stories are interesting. Heisenberg was 22-year-old. You know, a lot of young boys write to me, young boys and girls, please give me a job as a project assistant in your project. Exactly what he did, he wrote to Niels Bohr. Niels Bohr made him a project assistant. And Niels Bohr goes away on holiday for 3 weeks. And when he comes back, Heisenberg meets him, this young boy. Sir, when you are absent, I made a major discovery. Oh, is that so? Well, show me. Well, unfortunately, I've already sent it to a journal for publication. The professor says, you mean to say you can't wait for your professor for 3 weeks and you have to send it for publication? Then he says, sir, it was so important, it couldn't wait. Well, that was for the discovery of the uncertainty principle, for which he got a Nobel Prize later. And you know, it's so wonderful to listen to his story. Here is a young boy of 22 telling his professor what he did. You know, I don't think today if anybody said that in Jamia Millia, he will be thrown out of the university. Maybe your vice chancellor is a nice man, he won't do it. Okay. 2011 is also centenary of Madame Curie. I will not talk about that. She got 2 Nobel Prizes. She was a good scientist, shared the Nobel Prize in physics and chemistry. The reason I'm showing this is because of the present condition in India. Even today in 21st century, the way we teach our women, all countries, doesn't matter which religion we belong, which caste, which community, we treat women very badly. A bright woman has no chance in India even today. And what she went through is something you may not believe in. She got 2 Nobel Prizes, right? But yet the French Academy would not make her a member of the Academy. I have been a member of the French Academy for many years. I don't understand how can the Academy, French Academy, deny her a membership of the Academy with a woman with 2 Nobel Prizes. I wanted to know. So our young boys and girls are always complaining in India, I didn't get that, I didn't get this, I didn't get that. They always want something. But here is a woman with 2 Nobel Prizes who didn't get a membership of an academy. It is an unbelievable story. I thought we should know that. Very important, this picture. Another young man, 22-year-old again. This 22-year-old boy called Lawrence Bragg was walking around Cambridge one day and suddenly got an idea how to use X-ray crystallography, using X-ray diffraction to solve crystal structure. He wrote this famous paper in 2012. 2012 is the centenary of that year. Centenary of the discovery of crystallography. In fact, I always tell them, recently I made a small test of 3 professors. I told them, I will give you all the data that Lawrence Bragg had. So, can you solve the structure of what he did in 2019? Very few people can do that. Extraordinary brain. And of course, why is it so important? There have been more Nobel Prizes using crystallography than any other technique. In biological, inorganic system, biological system, organic molecules, a whole bunch of Nobel Prizes arising out of the discovery of this reduction. This is the same Bragg who gave the famous n lambda equal to 2d sine theta, the same Bragg. For 2011, we celebrated also as the International Year of Chemistry, so I would like to say something. You know, our government, it doesn't matter where you go, I don't mean Indian government, anywhere, people say, oh, what have you done in science? All you have to say, look, I take 2011 as an example, if you don't like it, take 2015, let us go back 100 years. What did we know in science? That if we go to 100 years ago from 1911, X-ray had just been discovered. Radioactivity had just been discovered. Atomic structure just came in 1911. Chemical bond, the idea of a chemical bond was not known. Chemical bond was first time described in the literature in 1916. Its centenary will be next year. I hope Jamia Millia will organize a nice international symposium conference on the chemical bond. It's really worth it because it's a fantastic thing. It's the greatest thing that happened to chemistry and all of science. Without the chemical bond, you can't do much. Physics, you can't do biology. There's nothing like a bond before 1960. It's just 100 years ago we understood the chemical bond. So 100 years, DNA was unknown 100 years ago. So things like that, so we make kind of progress. As far as chemistry is concerned, what is interesting is the history of chemistry is very, very interesting. Well, you know, many people say they don't know history of science. Let me tell you, when did physics start? Have you thought about it? It started exactly in the 17th century. Late 17th century, 1680, 1670, it was Newton who more or less defined physics in 17th century. Similarly, chemistry, when it started, if you go to early 18th century, there was no chemistry as a subject didn't exist more than 200 years ago. It was only the first time it got to be established was because of Lavoisier. We call him the father of chemistry. He is the one who gave the idea of conservation of mass, very, very fundamental. He is the one who told air is oxygen and nitrogen. He is the one who said compounds have a finite composition. So many things like that. But this was a very sad story. He was a very rich man, he was very close to the king and the queen of France. So, in 1794, आप लोग जानते हैं कि नहीं, what is the great thing about 1794? That is when our hero in Karnataka, Mysore, Tipu Sultan was fighting the British at that time. Many of you may not know. He was a great man. We call him Sher Mysore. It's a really extraordinary story of Tipu Sultan. Exactly this man was fighting, there was a French Revolution in France at that time. Exactly around the same time. So the French Revolution, they took away the king and the queen, their heads were cut off. And there were so many heads lying in Paris because they cut off so many heads. And they took this man and they cut off his head also because he is the queen and who crossed the king and the queen. So they did not know what head they had cut off. The greatest heads that started chemistry. In fact, they never found out, they tried to find out where the head was. There were so many heads, they could never actually find the head of Lavoisier in that thousands of heads that were cut off. Okay, I'll just quickly show, you know, how we forget. You know, Dalton's atomic theory, even today in school they ask questions on that. When I was in school, there was the standard question, what are Dalton's atomic hypothesis? That was exactly 1803, you see. It was only just 200 years ago. He is the one who gave the first idea of atoms existing, and then come to the most important example of science. You all know about Michael Faraday. If you don't know, you must know. Doesn't matter what science you do, what science you don't do. If you were to ask who is the one name in science, just one name, who you would pick in science as the greatest name, there's no doubt it will be Michael Faraday. Nobody can beat his record in science again. The number of things is extraordinary. I hope you all know this story. He worked as an assistant to a bookbinder. One day, accidentally, he got tickets to attend the lecture of Sir Free Davy in London. 3 lectures on chemistry. Somebody gave him the tickets in the bookbinder shop. He goes and attends it. He's so impressed with those lectures, takes down notes of all these lectures, binds them in a book, goes back to Sir Humphrey Davy, who was then very famous chemist. Then, sir, here is the book containing all your lectures. Then before going, as usual, a young man, do you think you can give me a job in your laboratory? That's always, oh no, there are no vacancies there. The standard answer we give everyone. So he goes away. Fortunately for him, no, how life is a matter of chance. Even Nobel Prize is a matter of chance. I'll soon show you about that. Everything there is a chance element in everything. So 1 month later, a boy who was cleaning the lab and working as an attendant runs away in Davy's lab. He remembers Faraday and said, why did you get that boy Faraday? Faraday was given the job. His job title was Chief Bottle Washer in the laboratory. That was Michael Faraday. And then he started working there, started helping Davy with the experiments. After some time, he started doing his own experiments. He became so good at it, made so many discoveries. Unbelievable. I don't think, you all know laws of electrolysis. He is the one who discovered benzene, the most fundamental one of all the important molecules in organic chemistry. He did magnetism, diamagnetism, paramagnetism, all those are words created by him. Electrode, anode, cation, anion, all those words were created by him. The number of things he did is extraordinary. He had only 3 years of schooling, but the science he did is unbelievable. And most important, of course, he also discovered electricity. Electricity he made by magnetic induction. Well, you know that story, right? The Minister of Finance came and said, Mr. Faraday, what is the use of your discovery? You know the famous answer, sir, one day you will tax it, he said. And that's we know that. And the Prime Minister also asked him, Prime Minister of Britain, what is the use of your discovery of electricity? Sir, what is the use of a newly born baby, he said. That's the answer. He was an extraordinary person. In fact, Lord Rutherford said, if only Faraday were alive in 20th century, in the 19th century, he would have got 6 Nobel Prizes. That's what he said. I have calculated my own way, because I know a lot about Nobel, how they work nowadays. I think it will be at least 5, maybe 4, definitely 4 he would have got, 4 Nobel Prize, if we were in 20th century. Well, he's the man we're talking about. You know, what is amazing, I hope you all know that. However great you become, however famous you become, however renowned you are in your subject, don't lose simplicity. Don't forget we all belong to mankind. We are all one religion, that is the human religion. That is it. I belong to that. Hindi mein kehte hain iska manav jati, ek hi jati hai. And he was a bit like that, but he was a very strong Christian. But on the other hand, his mind was that a very simple man. You may not believe it. Queen Victoria writes to Faraday, dear Mr. Faraday, I would like to give you a knighthood. If you had taken the knighthood, you would have become Sir Michael Faraday. He wrote back, dear Queen, you have been so kind. Everybody calls him Mike, people call him Faraday. I don't want to be called anything else. Please, thank you very much. He did that. How many do that nowadays? And then the more interesting, the Royal Society to which I belong for the last 35 years as a fellow, even today is a great honor to be elected. It's not easy to be an FRS, but I want you to know that. For example, 18th, everything we did, we would write in a beautiful handwriting in a book. 1833, December 24, he does experiments on electrolysis, whatever. December 26th, there is another entry. Only one day it is not there, 25th December. That was Christmas Day, one day he did work. Every day he worked. Amazing, extraordinary. And because he was a wonderful speaker, he had a spellbound audience. He would give lectures to young children, school children, and all of London, the Queen, King, everybody sometimes would come to listen to him. And one thing is that nobody has the right to impose himself for more than 1 hour on an audience. So he would light a candle. The standard candle even today burns exactly 1 hour. And if the candle would go off, he would stop the lecture. And it was fantastic. I will remember it finished in 1 hour. And but that is why I don't believe in some people bore students for 2-hour classes. Never attend a 2-hour class, just get out of it. There are a lot of lecturers giving 2 hours continuously. Nobody can absorb. In fact, some teachers give special lectures, special class. Never attend a special class. Never. Why didn't the teacher teach everything in the regular class? As a professor, I never took a special class. I always stayed the regular hours that was allowed. That is more than enough. As it is, we are boring students a lot. So more and more and how much? Okay, joke apart, seriously, Faraday was an extraordinary person. I just wanted to know that. And I give you this Mendeleev as a story, a human story of a great Russian. This is where I told you, the matter of chance. Mendeleev is the one who made the periodic table. I hope you know that. The greatest table man has made. And 1906, the Nobel Committee decides the Nobel Prize of 1906 should go to Mendeleev. Just before it was announced, some French people go to the committee and say, there is one Moison who has just discovered fluorine. Why don't you give it to him? Because he's going to die very soon. Not well. And the committee says, okay, let us give him Moison. Next year we will give it to Mendeleev. Mendeleev dies before 1907. He doesn't get it. So one of the advice all of you young fellows who want Nobel Prizes here, don't die soon. Live as long as possible, okay? Okay. Well, this is another thing. People say, oh, even in India 5,000 years ago, we did all kinds of things. It all, you have to be scientists. What is correct, you should know. In the first century, man knew only 7 elements. Right? 5,000 years ago, I don't think we knew more than that. In the 20th century, only we knew 114 elements. And even in Lavoisier time, we knew 23. I should change that, not 20, 23 elements. Of course, my great teacher, Seaborg, who made artificial elements, plutonium. The reason I show it is, so people say, "Arey, Hindustan mein atom bomb bante the humne." There was no plutonium, no uranium at that